Okay, good afternoon or morning or evening, depending on when you are watching this. I am Dr. Joshua Iseko, Single Spark. We are here to make sure that you make your own profitable feed, to empower you make more money from your farming. And today, I would like us to share with you interactively. Wherever you will be, you may not touch me, you may not greet me, but at least make sure you interact with me on the video. And so I'm going to show you something very interesting today about farming and especially the animals. We always have to understand that an animal is a living factory. Never think it is just an animal that works, but you must understand it's a living factory. This factory, why is it a factory? It has inputs and has outputs. And that factory has the capacity. So God created this animal with a maximum capacity it can do. For instance, we have chicken. This is the layer chicken. And this hen has capacity. If you give it all what it wants, it can give you 7 eggs per week. So every day you count an egg. And that's how powerful it is. But your inputs affect how you can get this capacity utilized. So if your inputs are not good, even the outputs, which are the number of eggs, will reduce. So you find that if your feed is not good, if your water is not good, your housing, your health is not good, it lowers them. And for instance, if your feed is not balanced, instead of you getting 7 eggs, you may find yourself getting only 4 eggs per week. And that's when you begin complaining. So it is very important to know that. And you as a farmer, you must know that you are a manager of this factory. It will not look for these things. You are the one that is bringing these things. It is not only for chicken, even a pig is also a factory. It has a capacity. If it is for meat, it has a capacity. Talk about the fish. The fish also is a factory. When you give it what it wants, it gives you what you expect, and that's the output. It has to grow very well. Set it in the right time. So, know very well that these animals are living factories, and you are the manager of that living factory. And now somebody is asking, how do I do? I have given this water. Water is good. House is very nice. Healthy, they don't get sick, but still my factory is not performing well. The reason is, how do you feed? And the right way to feed and have the right inputs is to have a balanced feed. And here you are, about the balanced feed. What is that balanced feed? Balanced feed is a feed that has the right nutrients that are meeting the needs of that animal, which is a factory we talked of, 100%. And that's why you see the 100% here. This factory, the feed you give it, it needs energy, it needs protein, it needs minerals, it needs vitamins. And all these are in different proportions that are needed. But your feed should give 100% of it. So, if you have your balanced feed, all this should be up to 100%. And that's what we call a balanced feed. It is not just mixing many raw materials. It is about providing what is up to 100%. And what are some of the mistakes we do in feeding? Some of us just put things together and we make a feed which is very different from balanced feed. For instance, the first thing is when you get information from your colleagues, keep adding, add this, add this, add this. You are not balancing. You just keep adding. And what happens is that you may find that your energy is at this level, about 125. You find that your energy, your protein may be at 100%. You find that your minerals are at 125, and you find that your vitamins are even above 125. What are you doing to this? This is not balanced feed. You are giving your living factory more than what it needs to give you the egg, if you have kept it for the egg, to give you the meat, if you have kept it for the meat. So all this, because the capacity here is limited, it will never give you 2 eggs, even if you gave it energy, which is 125%. So what are you doing to this? You may say, well, it enters the stomach. Let them eat. But this is all money. You are giving it money, it cannot give you back. You feed it to give you 1.5 eggs, but it gives you 1 egg. So the profit you will get on the 1 egg it gave you has been lost. And this is not good food. This is not balanced feed. Now, the other scenario is this. Some people say, my maize is very expensive, let me reduce. Fish meal is very expensive, let me just reduce the quantity. And this is what you do. You make your feed there, and then the nutrients for protein maybe are here in about 70, and then minerals are even lower, vitamins are even lower. Yes, you will give that feed to those animals, and they will eat it. But remember, if it is an egg, this bird needs all these nutrients at 100% to make 1 egg a day. Now what have you done? You have provided 50% of the mineral, of the vitamins, 50% of the minerals, 70% of the protein, and maybe 90% of the energy. This animal, since it is a factory, it is very wise and knows mathematics to average and say, okay, today they gave me raw materials to make 50% of my capacity. So it will reduce and come to 50%. So if your bird was going to give you an egg every day, it will start giving you 1 egg in 2 days, because it eats 50% a day, which is average. Then it waits for another day. It eats another 50%. And you are losing money, getting less eggs, but all this that you fed that is above 50 is still being lost. If it is protein, that's why you see in your poultry houses a lot of white things on the feces. That's all wasted protein. It was not used, and it cannot be kept in the body of that animal, so it will have to wait for tomorrow and build up. So that is not balanced feed. So remember, balanced feed is to 100% of everything. And now somebody is asking, how can that happen, that you have 100% of the nutrients in a feed? I want to introduce to you to what we call optimization. And that's where feeding, balanced feed, is originating. Optimization is done in this way. I want you to appreciate optimization and see how balanced feed comes up. We want to make our feed, which is 100%. You see this bar? And we want to optimize for energy, optimize for protein, minerals and vitamins. And we have a number of raw materials or ingredients. We have energy ingredients, we have protein ingredients, we have our minerals here, and we have vitamins. And assuming in your area prices are varying, maize has its own price, let us say 100. And then maize bran has maybe 70. And maybe sunflower is also 100. And groundnut seeds are maybe 200. Because in some countries, they are used to feed humans, so they are too expensive. And then we have here our protein. Fish meal maybe is at 250, for instance. And cotton seed cake maybe at 105. And we have here sunflower, seed cake at maybe 200, and also soybean cake at 200. And then vitamins are premix, it's quite expensive, and maybe it is at 300. And then we have our minerals, which is the DCP. It could be also at 300. And then our salt at 100. What happens is, in optimization, is that you are picking the value of a certain raw material and bring it here. But you don't pick what is available unnecessarily. You pick what is available and it is of the lowest price. And in this case, we do not look at these ones when we talk of price. We are looking at how much am I buying the energy in the maize. Because these living factories do not read maize. They don't read the soya. They don't read the fish. They read what they can take in. In maize, they want energy. They can get it in many other things to have the energy. So, what happens is that if maize bran is at 70 and maize is at 100, maize bran is at 18, can give you 1,820 kilocalories of metabolism energy. And yet maize is giving you 3,315 kilocalories of metabolism energy. If you divide the 3,000 by 100, or the other way around, 100 divided by 3,315, you see that the maize is having cheaper energy compared to 70 divided by 1,800. So, in optimization, you are supposed to pick from energy of maize and leave the one of maize bran. So you pick a portion and bring here, but you don't pick all. I am now seeing people say if I was optimizing, I get all the energy from maize. Not necessarily. Why? Because also you are looking at other proportions. You are also looking at the palatability of the feed. It must be palatable. So we have what we call maximum inclusion. So you keep picking. For instance, in birds, like layers, maximum inclusion of maize is up to 60% in your recipe. So you will pick and reach here because it is the cheapest, and let's say you put up to this level. And that is maize. But because that is the limit, now in your optimization you say what would be the next. So now you compare maize bran and sunflower seeds. Automatically these ones are low, looking at them. Now when you compare all this, you realize that indeed I have to pick maybe next to maize bran. Then you get some maize bran, but also has some limitations. You add some maize bran here. And then you say, but I am not only going to do maize or energy only. You also come to protein and see that now fish meal at 250 and the cotton seed cake at 105. Which one is cheaper? You realize that if you calculate, maybe cotton seed cake is cheaper now here. So you first put cotton seed cake to raise the protein. Now the interesting thing that when you put this, there were some values here also. Very small, because these raw materials have more than only energy. They have protein, they have vitamins, and some minerals. So there was something building here. So when you top up now for protein and put some cotton in here, we brought some too in, and then you say cotton, you bring it. When you bring cotton, it now affects the protein, and protein goes somewhere here. And then even some energy adds. Even these ones are adding. So you say, but I've reached the maximum, because cotton has issues. The maximum inclusion is very, very low. You now have no option to go back to fish meal again. Or you go to sunflower seed cake, or soybean cake. But then it may realize that, oh, soybean cake is cheaper than fish meal. Then you pick from soybean cake, and then it affects up to here. There is some energy here, some minerals, something like that. So you are building a block to balance. Now you get from all these ones and build your block up to 100%. What do I want you to remember is that optimization is not only putting things together, but picking the right ingredient, which is of the lowest price at that moment, to build a block of a mix which has very good nutrients at 100% for a particular animal that you are formulating for or optimizing for. And the 100% is good like that. I am sure you are saying, now how do I do that? The man is just talking and displaying and bringing illustrations. Is that how feed is made on my farm? I want to introduce you to even more interesting things. As I tell you, or I lead you to the way of making it simpler for you. And that's the solution, so that you do not say, I learned about optimizing and it was confusing. Don't worry about that. The good news is that there are many more raw materials around the world. Some did not see what they know here. There are many more around the world. We have high energy. They are categorized. We have medium energy. We have here fats, groundnuts, maize, millet, palm oil, or moringa oil. We have sorghum. We have sunflower seeds. Those are in high energy. We have here barley, brewer's grain. We have maize bran high quality and maize bran low quality. Remember that the process at which you mill or polish your maize determines the quality of maize bran. And in some countries, if you go for number 2, grade 3 kind of posho, maize bran low quality is the most common maize bran in your country. So, palm kernel, cake, rice bran, soybean house, cassava, in other countries called manioca, wheat bran, molasses. So these are medium energy. And then you have proteins here, blood meal, fish meal, meat bone meal, meat, we have soybean cake, soybean meal, and soybean full fat. Soybean cake and soybean meal are differentiated by the process of extraction of oil. So be careful, don't confuse soybean cake with soybean meal. Soybean meal is when you have a solvent, so it should not come in a cake. Very easy to differentiate. Soybean cake comes in a cake and it's ground later to have what you have. So ask where you are buying, whether it is a cake or a meal. And soybean full fat is when you get the whole seeds, roast them. The ideal word is toasting. You do not burn them. You heat it up and then grind it. You get what we call soybean full fat. And then medium, we have cotton seed cake, groundnut cake, rapeseed, rapeseed meal, sesame, sunflower seed cake. Sesame cake is the same as sesame in some countries. So when you Don't get confused with the sesame. It is sesame in other countries. And then rapeseed, these are rare in Africa and other countries, but don't worry, if you don't have it, it is a big list. So, now, for minerals, we have bone ash. Bone ash is sometimes what they call bone meal. And we have lysine, these are amino acid, methionine, threonine, tryptophan. DCP is the calcium phosphate. And then monocalcium phosphate. Limestone, this is agricultural lime. Don't go for the one of construction. You are not going to build your animal. You want to feed it. Then Shells grit is the commonly oyster shells in many countries. And then salt. Don't forget the key and most important ingredient, which is the premix. That is a mandate to be there. It must be in your feed. If it misses, then you have missed a lot. And we have different variations here. And I want to introduce you to something very interesting. And that is what we have for you as single spark.